The next tune that we're going to play, we learned in our residential in February, and it was taught to us by a tabla player and composer, Kuljit Bhamra, and it's called Teri Meri. It's originally meant to be a love song, meaning something like "from me to you," and while working on this arrangement, we went into smaller groups that we like to call beehives, and we came up with our own ideas, different chord ideas, breakdown ideas, stuff like that. So yeah, hope you enjoy.
It's been wonderful working with the ensemble on Teri Meri. I mean, it's a traditional Punjabi style tune. One thing is to give it to a group of people and tell them prescriptively how to actually perform it. But with young people here, we've actually just given them the bare bones of the melody, and they've come up with the arrangements and the orchestration. So that's really wonderful, not only to learn a tune, but also then take it into your own world and develop it with the knowledge that you know.
It's really interesting seeing the different sides of folk music, and even though they're in two separate cultures, like the similarities between the two, and how each one is still formed kind of like the same. But it was really interesting hearing about all the different like scales they use, and all the different instruments that go into like performing it.
I really like it. It's like a really nice like fusion between two different genres.
And in India, they've really taken that to town. They go, okay, this scale is about separation, but joyful. Or this scale is about rainfall season, and we can only play it at 10 o'clock at night.
I think it's been really cool because like most of it's like just like English folk tunes, which is like I really enjoy that, but like it's a completely different side of folk music, so it's like a new insight into a different world.
This way of working, of using beehives or kind of smaller groups, is so valuable because it enables young people to kind of bounce their ideas off each other more without the constraints of feeling like they're speaking in front of a whole group. It really, there's enough of them in the group that some can do some roles and others can do other roles. So it really gets their kind of creative musical minds going.
You dive into smaller groups with like I'd say a mixed variety of like different types of instruments, and you focus in on like different parts of the arrangement, generally like different sections. Each beehive sometimes like has a different section that they focus on, like the intro, or like the ending, or like the middle, or like the, I don't know, like the B section going to the A section like the same time around. And it's like cool things like breakdowns. We did a breakdown for our beehive, like intersections type stuff, just like cool chords, yeah, snazzy chords.
Beforehand, come up with some ideas on the board, and we all chose some of them to focus on, and then we like came up with a few ideas either for the whole time around the tune or for a little part of the tune, and brainstormed ideas and tried stuff out, and then after a while of like getting an idea, we came back and presented it to the group, and then from then we compiled them all together and made a lovely big arrangement with all the people's ideas.
I like that in Teri Meri beehives that we had a combination of instruments instead of just, because obviously in the fiddle breakout room it's just 8 fiddles, and like that's great because you can do fiddle specific stuff, but you can't really work with like different timbres or textures, and I really like being able to do that almost as like a mini NYFE that you broaden out.
What was interesting watching all the beehives is the number of ideas that came. I mean, every single person's got an amazing idea, and how do you bring all that together and then decide on the best ones, or the ones that you choose? So it was incredible how they were exploring rhythm and melody and texture and counterpoint and harmony at the same time, which is a very un-Punjabi thing to do.
I think that like the way that he explained it as like he put it in the context of like Indian classical music and how they have like usually one repeating cyclical thing, and then because you've set a precedent, then you can sort of break it. And I think like the way that he explained that was really helpful, because then it means that when we're playing it, it's like we know what we're sort of going for, and it's like when we did end up arranging it, we do have these like sort of patterns that came back around. Like when we came back together after the beehiving process, we all like would play each other's beehives, and then we'd come back and do the A part. And so it's like we're sort of learning how to sort of set up these structures so that we can break them, and like working with audience expectation, which is something that we spent a lot of time thinking about, I guess. And it's sort of like that's like a new avenue of consideration for the compositional process.
I think one thing that many people don't know is that Punjabi music has got very popular in the UK, and now it's become what we know as Bhangra music. And Bhangra music is a British invention. Bhangra dance existed before in India, but Bhangra music is a British invention. So I like to think that there's no reason why we can't play that. If you're British, then play British music, whatever that means. I know English folk music does mean a particular thing, but even in my own research, the people that I've spoken to about English folk music all have a slightly different answer to what it is or what it should be. And I think it's really good that we're broadening that perspective to look at it like from a British point of view. And that in a way also, when you zoom out in such a way, I think it also celebrates the very individual nuances of all the different types of folk music that people love.
You do more interesting things with it because it's out of your comfort zone, so you go, okay, great, well if the tune's out of my comfort zone, then let's do some chords I'm not used to, and then yeah, it's been cool, the crossing over stuff that a lot of us aren't familiar with stuff that we're really confident in, like a D drone, and then it's like, yeah, nice crossover.
I thought it was really interesting because it was written to be like a Bhangra piece, but then I feel like our sort of arrangement has, I don't know, it sort of makes it sound like it's come from us as well. Like it's not necessarily complete, it doesn't say Bhangra written all over it.